Lauren, looking at these picks that Trump has made so far, with Tulsi Gabbard leading intelligence, a new Secretary of Defense with Pete Hegseth, and maybe most notable, Marco Rubio, Secretary of State, what do you make of these picks in terms of Taiwan's defense?
I think for Taiwan, there's a lot of unknowns. We don't really know a lot about the Secretary of Defense nominee. He is obviously a TV host, but brings close ties to Trump to the picture, and that might be sort of his role is just to be Trump's guy in the Pentagon. But I think for Taiwan, the one that is really interesting is Rubio, Senator Rubio, his nomination for Secretary of State. And so, if you look at Rubio's track record, right, he proposed several bills in recent history that are all very friendly towards Taiwan and help advance the US Taiwan relationship. You have to remember, too, that he's sanctioned by China. So, there's a big question mark over. Um, Whether or how he might be able to travel to China to engage his counterparts in his role. So, in that environment, yes, he is a China hawk, and I think we can expect him to take that vantage point in his role, assuming he's confirmed. But I think the nature of how he's become a China hawk has also sharpened his focus on Taiwan and the U.S. Taiwan relationship.
There's been a lot of pressure on Taiwan to increase its defense spending, but now with Trump coming in, how big is that pressure going to be?
So if Trump or others, President elect Trump or others, have said 10% is the threshold they want Taiwan to hit, there is a good chance that they will try and pursue that. But I think they will probably encounter, frankly, a bit of reality as they settle into their roles and realize how hard it will be for Taiwan not only to hit that 10% target of GDP, there would be huge trade offs required and a tough negotiation with the LY, the Legislative Yuan, as well. But the US defense industrial base would also have to keep a pace. And the challenge we have today under the current administration is that the US defense industrial base can't meet the supply demand pressures um, of Israel and Ukraine and Taiwan all at the same time, as well as our other allies and partners. I think a lower number, like 5%, is more realistic, but there would still be huge trade offs within Taiwan's system.
And do you see any other obstacles ahead when it comes to the US and Taiwan cooperating in security?
So, as this new administration settles in and learns, frankly, what the last administration has done before them, they probably need to consider like how much is too much or when is too much. Because if the U.S. is selling things to Taiwan and they're just landing on island, but not being integrated in a useful, frankly, way to build deterrence, because Taiwan has no bandwidth to train on more stuff, that's also not in, I would argue, in the US interest. You want to make sure that the stuff that we're selling from the US side goes to Taiwan and immediately goes into use.